Hi, I'm Kay Binnersley of Kay Binnersley Hair, a studio salon in West Yorkshire in a little town called Featherstone. And thank you, Samantha, for inviting me onto
You're
your
so welcome.
podcast.
You're so welcome. So welcome. So the whole thing that's happening just now, Kay, is everything about like the skin testing side of it. It's kind of a went up in arms. And we're looking at it from all points of view. And some people are a bit calmer about it. Some people are more in arms about it. Um, I was on the phone to my insurers yesterday. I just don't know like the full extent of it. So what's your opinion on it? How's it going on your side?
Yeah, so I think what's happened is since the lockdowns, people have been short of money. And I think the basic line is out there that some unscrupulous members of the general public have realised that this is quite an easy way to gain some money because, if we go get our hair coloured, we've had a skin test, we get our hair coloured, but then we say, oh, I've got an itch on my scalp, and then we go to the doctors. The doctor's question will be, have you had anything done? Yes, I've had my hair coloured. The doctor's answer will be, oh, so it's got to be the colour. Even though you've had a skin test, you've obviously built an allergy within that time frame. Go and then they leave the doctors and they go find a no-win, no-fee solicitor. This is the basic crux of it. And I spoke to the National Hair and Beauty Federation a couple of weeks since now, and what they said is the increase in claims after the first and second lockdown and the 3 months prior to us closing in January as quadrupled. And these claims are paying out at a minimum of £8,000. Now, the insurance company, what's happening is the insurance companies, when the claims come in, because they don't want to get into any battle, and even though you might have, as a stylist, done everything that you should have done, they're literally paying the claims out. And the insurance companies have decided that this is getting ridiculous. So they need to tighten up everything that we're all doing.
Yeah.
But what's happened by doing this is everybody's kind of
Encouraging people to do it.
yeah, and what it's doing really is it's the tail's wagging the dog here, isn't it? The
Yeah.
insurance companies are now dictating to us, well, if I go and buy some car insurance, I'm going to tell my car insurance company that my car's a certain age, it's got a certain reg, that I want it fully comprehensive, that I want protection if I have an accident, that I want cover if I have an accident and I want a car. And I'm telling them all of this, but now our insurance companies are telling us what we're going to have and we're going to do. And
Yeah.
I think this is where, as an industry, we need to get hold of the bull by the horns and say, just hang on a minute. These are the policies we want to be covered. This is how we want covering. But at the moment, I think there's just mass fear because we've been closed for a while. There's obviously this situation where they said, there was links with COVID and allergies, which there has been, but the medical health regulatory authority for the country who back the vaccination have actually said there's nothing conclusive that COVID, if you've had COVID or you've been a COVID carrier, that you are going to have a reaction. There has been heightened levels of reactions, but there's nothing conclusive at the moment. So they're also saying, we're kind of getting ourselves into a little bit of state by it all. And I
Yeah.
think it's being led by the insurance. The Hair and Beauty Fed have changed some of their rules. And so that's got everybody a little bit worried. The underwriters, I mean, it's unreal. I have the Hair and Beauty Fed protocol. So
Yeah.
they give you, in their allergy testing kit, you get a series of questions. You go through the questions. If it flags up, then you've got to skin test. If it doesn't flag up, then they carry on until their annual skin test or skin test every 6 months, depending if you haven't seen them for 6 months, need to be carried out. But what I found out when I rang the Hair and Beauty Fed was that unless I checked that with my insurance company, their protocols weren't covered. And I said, just hold on a minute. So if I haven't checked with my insurance company, if they agree to your protocols, and if they didn't, and I'd have done a test carrying out your methods, but something happened, who would have protected me? Nobody. just hang on, you're our governing body. I pay my membership. I thought that if anybody was going to throw me under the bus, it was the colour house and the insurance company.
Yeah.
Not that you were going to say, yeah, you've done our protocols, but actually, if you hadn't checked with your insurance company, you're not covered. So I was mortified. So I rang my insurance company, who said, no, we don't support their protocols. And I said, well, it's amazing, because the insurance policy, the National Hair and Beauty Fed, is underwrote by Covea, and you are Covea, my insurance company. So how can
Wow.
you support it when you are writing their policy, but you don't support it in my policy? So I said, I'm not liking this. I'm not happy about this whole thing. So I've been firing questions at my insurance company to the point now that none of them want to pick the phone up to talk to me. None of them are coming up with any answers. I keep running questions round them and rings round them. I've now asked them, are they going to support Colour Star? Because the new Colour Star is a passport system, and it is the only thing that is now backed by the medical, health and regulatory body. The body I'm talking about, have
Yeah.
said, we back Colour Star. So, but you can use Colour Star, and Colour Star have their own insurance, but you have to still clarify it with your insurance. So I've gone back to my insurance, and we're now 12 days in, 3 phone calls in, don't now have many emails, and they're still not answering me at the moment because they don't know what to do. Because, as I said to them, how can you not support something that the Medical Health Regulatory Authority of the United Kingdom back? These are the people that back a vaccination. These are the people that have stamped this Colour Star passport system,
Yeah.
because what they're saying is we are over skin testing, and we shouldn't be. We're doing far too much skin testing. We're actually putting people more at risk by the amount of skin testing we're doing.
Yeah.
And now all these colour houses are saying skin test 48 hours before, but now skin test every time. Can you imagine a guest every 6 weeks being skin tested? That cannot be right. And we need to stand up as an industry and
Yeah.
say, stop it. The tail is wagging the dog here, as my mum would say, and this dog has got to stop the tail wagging it. And we've got to stand up as an industry and say, no, we can't carry on like this.
Yeah.
But the colour houses are frightened, the insurance companies are frightened, and now we've got a whole industry of people that are having sleepless nights, that are worried. The phone calls I've had and the messages I've had, and the amount of hairdressers that are saying they're going to walk away from the industry, amount that are saying they're just going to cut hair, they won't colour hair again, the amount that are feeling so low. I have taken so many phone calls from distraught, distressed hairdressers. That is totally unacceptable, is this situation. And I think we really need some big powers that be in this industry that have got some real clout to now jump up and down and say, enough. We need some clarity,
Yeah.
and this has to stop.
Yeah.
So that's my old view on the matter. So you can see I'm very passionate about it, because
Yeah.
I just think that they're making something that does not need to be complicated.
Yeah. It is.
Why? Why are they doing it?
Exactly. And when you're having a look at it, and it's so hard to rein it all in and put it into a perspective, because when I had a conversation with my insurance, I did get a little bit, I felt as if I was getting a little bit shirty with them, because they were being really shirty with me. And of course, my husband's shaking his finger and he's like, and I was like, no, wait a minute. And he gave me a quick answer. And the quick answer was, you need to skin test every time. And I says, right, okay, we need to skin test a client every single time. So if a client has been skin tested and they come back 6 weeks, you're telling me they have to be skin tested again? And his response was yes. And I went, but the thing behind that is, as a salon, it's not feasible to be doing that. If you've got somebody traveling 40 miles to come to your salon, they're not going to do it. You're going to lose business. It's not feasible. Then he went to the underwriter, and the underwriter came back and said that they would cover us, because I also pulled up the fact that if you skin test somebody, put them in the car, they have a crash, what's going on if they have a reaction? My insurance company, which I was a little bit flabbergasted at, said they would cover me for that. And I was
Wow.
like, I want that in writing. I
Yeah.
want that in writing. But they won't cover colour stat.
And it's so strange because my insurance company have always told me that when I put that skin test on, that guest has to sit in my salon for the length of that time, that as if they were having a colour with that skin test. Because if they left my salon, got in the car, and went into anaphylactic shock, I will be responsible because I put that test on. So skin testing, the first lockdown, I went back skin testing, and I mean, it just took me. A whole week, and hands up, I totally thought that this idea of we skin test 48 hours before was a minimum. So I did a week of skin testing, but some of those guests didn't come back to me for 3 weeks, and I thought I was
Yeah.
covered because I thought I'm more than 48 hours before, I'm okay. But I actually wasn't. So again, that was very unclear. That there's no clarity with any of this in the industry, the insurance, and this is why for me, we need some clarity. For me, as you say, Samantha, sometimes our guests travel. I have a lot of guests that travel to me over
Yeah.
an hour. For them to come every time to have a skin test, to then come back 48 hours later for a colour, they're not going to come to me. So for me, the colour start would be much better, because if I could get the colour start in now, I could actually get them posted out. They could all be skin testing, and as soon as we get that go ahead, I can actually start work straight away, because the colour start, they can apply that 120 days before they actually have a colour. So my guests
Ah,
right now could be having a colour skin test now, and everything be fine. They put all the information into their passport, they click send, and it comes over to my portal. It tells me they've done it, and then 48 hours before the colour, they do the screening questions, and as long as the screening questions flag nothing up, they're free to come. And every time, all they do is 48 hours before their appointment is they carry out the screening questions, and as long as they go okay, they just send it to my portal,
yeah,
and they're free to have that appointment. If it flags up something, then obviously they have to have another test, and
yeah.
we're back to the beginning again. But for me, this seems quite a plausible and doable situation for my business. So I've not got myself stressed with it. I'm cross with the insurance companies more than anything,
Yeah.
and the clarity. That's what's got me cross. I'm not stressed with it. I just think it's out of my control right now. I think that we'll get some more clarity, hopefully closer to opening. If we don't, all we can do to start with is go back. We've got to skin test everybody anyway. So
Yeah.
we go back having skin test them, and we carry on working on the insurance companies and the powers that be to get some more answers before we're ready for the next set of skin testing. So I've decided that because we've got to skin test 48 hours before, so while my salon opens on a Tuesday, so that would mean coming in on a Sunday on my day after skin test. Well, I'm not doing it. I've just decided that, this lockdown's made us all reevaluate our lives, and when I first opened back after lockdown, I went from 5 days a week doing 50 guests, working 12 14-hour days, to I work 4 days a week.
Yeah.
I do 8 to 10 guests now, and I work so much less. I only do 2 colours a day and a cut and finish. That's all I do. So what I've decided is that Tuesdays I will go in and be the day that I do cut and finishes,
Yeah.
and I will have my Thursday guests coming in on Tuesday for their skin test. So there's only 2 of them. There's only 2 colours. So my Thursday guests will come in on a Tuesday for the skin test. Now, Wednesday is my day off. But what I think I will do going back is on a Wednesday, sort of tea time, maybe about 5 o'clock, is go down to the salon, do the 2 skin tests then for Friday. Thursday, I can do my colours because they was tested on Tuesday. So I'll do those 2 colours. And at tea time, I will have the 2 colours for Saturday in for their skin test. And going forward, that's how I'll work. But I've worked out it's probably going to take me about 8 to 10 weeks to get through my customers that way.
That's it.
So I mean, some of my customers, There have been 5 months since they've had a colour, and there could be another 2 months on top of that, so 7 months. But I can't see an alternative unless I get clarity that I can use Colour Start. And if I can't, this is the only way forward. I can work through it, and at that point, I will be letting my guests know this is the situation
Yeah.
and why I'm taking these steps to protect them. And ultimately, if they don't agree with that, then they will go find another salon. But the question is then, what is that other salon putting in place?
That's the worrying thing. That is the absolute worrying thing. But if we can rewind a little bit, you were saying about the 48 hours. That was my husband, Gary. That was his question yesterday. And again, we couldn't clarify that. He was saying that if you skin test somebody and it's a fortnight before they're actually in, is it nil and void then?
Yeah, well, mine's, yeah, it is. Yeah,
It is.
yeah, they're all saying it's nil and void because within that 2 week period, they could have had COVID. It could have passed through them. They might not have had COVID, but they could have been a COVID carrier. There could be that chance they've become hypersensitive. They could have, in between you last seen them, have become hypersensitive. So they're now saying it's got to be the 48 hours. And I do know of somebody, and she did after the first lockdown, she did do her skin test, and she said it was actually a guest that was 48-hour tested before and was in. The test had was fine, but she put the colour on, and the guest went into a massive reaction.
Wow.
So this is how serious it is, because although there's nothing conclusive with COVID and the testing, there is and there are dermatologists from around the world in a big WhatsApp group looking at all of this, and they are finding some links. What they're saying is they can't yet say it's conclusive. We're still in the infant stages of all this virus, and
Yeah.
knowing what it's doing. New data's just coming out of Wuhan, 12 months on, of the effects of the virus for people that didn't go onto the ventilators, and the effects of the people that didn't go on the ventilators. Some of them, there's eyesight loss, and there's damage. There's damage within their brain cell issues. They've been monitoring this. So we don't even, and that's 12 months on. So we're not going to have that information for how it's affected people in the UK probably till June or July. So things are changing in all directions. Whether they'll collate a link between, people that have had the virus or carried the virus and skin testing remains to be seen. So jury's out on that, but the medical board at the moment are saying they cannot conclusively prove anything either way on it.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna have to wait and see, aren't we?
Just go with the
But
flow.
I feel sorry for so many hairdressers that can only feel now that their only way is to leave the industry, or to just become a cutting salon or a barber shop. And I don't think that's the way forward. I think we've got to stand up and say, no, we've got to find a way around this, and we've all got to work together. But what I see going forward, I worry that a lot of insurance companies will start pulling out from insuring hairdressers, and will become limited to what companies are available.
Yeah.
And then premiums are going to go up, which then is going to affect us and ultimately affect the guests as well, isn't it?
Exactly. Because even with the Colour Start as well, it's classed as like a prescription, isn't
It's
it?
a prescription,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you can put it on the client's bill. They have to purchase it, don't they?
Yeah.
So they have to pay for it. So again, it's £15, isn't it? Is that what the retail price is for the Colour
Yeah,
Start passport?
yeah, yeah,
So does a client want to pay that? But then if they want you and it's going to be easier for them, then I suppose it's an option that they have. But I'm finding that most insurance companies are not covering that anyway. And then there's also the case of, are you following the protocol from the Colour House? Or are you following the leaflet that's inside the box? Because I found, looking over a few colour lines, that there's slight discrepancies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
again, that was a
absolutely.
question that I asked the insurance company yesterday, and mine's was what they said was I had to follow the protocol, I had to follow the leaflet,
Yeah.
not what my colour house said. I had to follow the leaflet. But let's face it, I've been in this industry for over 30 years, and yesterday was probably the first time I pulled that leaflet out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's just, if my colour house told me this is what the protocol is, I would follow that protocol.
Yeah.
And the only time that I've ever looked at the leaflet is, oh my God, I can't remember. How long is that left on for? And I would maybe read the instructions in it, but I would never go deep into the skin test because I'm following the colour house.
Yeah, and I think that's been the thing. We've all done that, haven't we? And I think that most insurance companies now are saying follow what the leaflet's saying,
Yeah,
and most leaflets are actually saying 48 hours before every time,
that's what mine's
which
saying.
yeah, which is now a situation, isn't it? So, I mean, going back, yes, Colour Start, we've got to pay for it because it is a prescription that's classed as a medicine now, and you can't give a medicine um, free of charge to another person. So that's why they have to pay. I think my guess, to be fair, would be probably happy to pay it because for them that are traveling to have to come every time for a test, they wouldn't want to do that. So for me, if I can find an insurance, which I have found, and there is an insurance that will back Colour Start. So I've told my insurance, if you're not going to back it, I will be removing my insurance from you, and I'm going elsewhere. So that's something that I will do.
Yeah,
And obviously I can't say it on air, but I obviously can let you know off air
yeah,
who that company is, which I'll happily do. So I will be looking to leave my company if they don't back me. But the thing is, what I don't understand why they won't back it is because actually, if you ended up going to court, it's the Colour Start insurance policy that goes to court with you. And when Debbie Digby Smith went to court, I mean,
yeah.
her story,
It's
a lot of
amazing.
people know it
Yeah,
yeah, the people that backed Debbie was Colour Start,
yeah,
not
exactly.
anybody else.
Yeah,
The cases that have ever gone to court and won have been Colour Start cases. So that tells me this company believes in its policy enough to say, we'll go to court and we'll fight this.
yeah.
So if I was going to court, I think I probably want them on my side and not my colour house or my insurance company, because I'm not sure that they're going to back me when, when you're really up to your neck in it.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the cases that Debbie was saying was, I think was it a payout of like £1,500, and you just think, what is the point? But at the other end of that, Colour Start was on top of it. They supported her, and they didn't care. It was basically, yep, we will do this. We will. So if that's what's happening, surely the insurance companies should go, do you know what? That's going to save us a little bit. If Colour Start's going to be on the case, what is the problem here?
Yeah, there's got to be some regulation. Some years since this was happening with holidays, people would go on holiday and come back and say, "I've caught a tummy bug in that hotel. I'm going to sue the hotel," and the insurance were just paying out left, right, and centre till they finally said, "No, we're not going to just keep paying out these no win, no fee people just going and finding a way to make some money. We'll stand up to it." And then what happened was when they found that these people were lying and being unscrupulous, they were actually putting them in court. So, it's about time we said this. The majority of our guests and the people that come to us for their hair doing. They have no thoughts or intentions of, let me sue my hairdresser to make me some money.
Absolutely.
It is just the odd one or two in life, is in everything, that then spoil it for everybody else, don't they?
Absolutely. I would say that I've got an amazing bunch of clientele. Um, I would not get any hassle from them at all whatsoever.
No.
But I now feel that I'm putting them out because I'm having to go over the top, although it is for their safety and they do understand that. And it was the same when we went back the last time with all the PPE and having to stand outside if I had ran late or whatever. They were totally, they understood it. But you are going to get clients out there, and I can understand the fear that the industry's got, and my heart melts for the people that are like, I can't cope with this anymore. The industry,
Yeah.
our industry, I feel has been hit massively, and I'm
Yeah.
behind you 100%, Kay, when I say that we all need to stand there as a united front and say, no, this should not be happening. We need one protocol. We need one regulation. We all need to be sailing on the same boat.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And if we, if you stand united, you're stronger.
Yeah.
And they've got to listen. We put 7 point something billion on the high street. We are a valid voice because there's no high street left now. We are the high street.
Yeah.
So they need to start listening to us. We are important. And it's about time that they all sat up and realised how important we are and that they listen to our concerns, because we have been greatly hit and we're the ones that's going back. We're at the forefront of this virus. We really are at the forefront. I'm obviously the nurses and the doctors are at the very, very forefront, but we have got people coming into our salons. We are human contact. We are not just doing hair, but we're counselling people. People, when they returned after the first and second time, were changed. We changed, and our guests were changed. And we're counsellors. We do so much more than just hair, and we are right at the forefront of helping people get through these times. And it's about time that we were recognised for this
Yeah.
in this country, and that they stop treating us the way they do, because we put billions of money into this country.
Yeah.
And so it's about time they started respecting that and not treating us the way they are treating us right now.
Yeah.
And I just want some real people with some real clout in our industry to stand up and say enough. And I think that's happening. There's a lot of people
Yes.
getting behind this and saying no, we're not having this. This isn't
Yeah.
on. And a noise is happening. People are starting to bang the drums and get it out there. And the more we talk about it, I know everybody's kind of like, oh, skin testing, we're sick of hearing it. But if we don't talk about it and we don't shout about it, well, there's an old saying we have down in Yorkshire. It is, he who shouts loudest gets heard.
Yeah. Up
So
in
let's start
Scotland
shouting
here.
loud.
Yeah, it's shy bairns getting out. Exactly. We need to speak about it. We're in this industry, we have gone back the last time, and a lot of my clients were like, oh my goodness, you are so much more sterilised, and the PPE is, and I can't believe the routine that you have got up and running for this. And one of them worked in a doctor's surgery, and she said that we were better than they were.
Yeah, I've had that from the nurses and doctors that come into me. They say you are more sterilised than we are in the hospitals.
Yeah.
And I think we are. I
Yeah.
think we stepped up to the mark as an industry, and we got on with it, and we accepted what we're to do. So many salons went to one-to-one working, and if they've got a team of staff, maybe 4 staff in, then they were still only one-to-one, just that one stylist and that guest. It's impacted on our business financially. It's impacted on us mentally. Yet we stepped up to the mark. We made sure our guests were safe. We put every protocol we were asked to and more into place. And I think as an industry, we did amazing, absolutely amazing. And I think that, we need to keep moving forward in the professional direction we are doing, as we have done collectively, because in lockdown, it brought us together. We're stronger than we've ever been as an industry. And now we need to say, right, you need to listen now. We're the people that do the work. We are educated. We're the ones that's working with the colour, and we know how we can make this work. We need to come up with a protocol that is across the board.
Yeah.
They vaccinate people in their arm. They don't say, well, I'm going to vaccinate this person in their arm, but that person I'll vaccinate in the toe, and that person I'll vaccinate in the head. There's a protocol. So put a protocol in place for us, and let's work to it. Talk to the people in the industry, find out the best way, deal with the Medical Health Regulatory Board, and come up with a protocol we can all use that stops all this stress. Because as I say, my heart, just so many hairdressers in such a state. And I've said to them, look, if we're given the go ahead to open on the 12th of April, and we haven't got in place what we need to open because of all this, then we can't open. And there's not a thing we can do about it. I
Yeah,
am under the opinion, if I haven't got answers and I cannot deliver safely what I need to deliver to my guests, then my doors won't open till it does.
that's it. But I
That's
find
it.
it so difficult to comprehend. It's not up here yet. We haven't got like a definite date up here in Scotland yet.
No.
No, but what I find difficult to comprehend is it's the 12th user opening. Is that correct? It is the
No,
12th.
no, well, no, the 12's been banded about, and this is where it's getting everybody in a state because we're opening on the 12th. No, what it says in the small print is the earliest. So he's going to let us know on the 5th what the answer is,
Okay.
whether we will or we won't open on the 12th. And the caveat is in the earliest. But I mean, over in Wales, they just got news now that they can open on Monday. I mean, that's not enough time. Literally
No.
days of information. That's not. It's just not possible, is it? It puts us under so much pressure. But you know, my husband Paul, what he says about it is, Kay, it doesn't matter when they say you can open. If at the end of the day you're not ready to open or you don't want to open that
That's the
day,
thing.
you open when you're ready. So
Yeah.
if Boris waits till the 8th of April and says you can all open on the 12th and you can't be organised for the 12th, well, you're organised for when you are.
Yeah.
And I kind of think he's right. What, we've been closed for so long. What can we do?
What's an extra couple of days? And the thing is, if you open on the 12th anyway, you can't colour because you can't
Can't do
start skin
anything.
testing until the 12th, if that's the actual date. You can't touch anybody. I've took the
No,
decision, I think we were the 26th, possibly the 26th. I'm going to wait till the 29th. And I'm just going to start working on the 29th, but I'll skin test the 48
yeah,
hours beforehand. But for anybody that is panicking about it, there's a few options. You can do what Kay and I are going to be doing, where we will skin test 48 hours beforehand and we'll just delay our opening day to start working on our clients. Or I was listening to Sophia Hilton the other day and she was suggesting like a cut and consult where you do the first couple of days, well, the 48 hours where you cut your client and do your consultation at the same time and your skin test then. And then you can book them in for the 48 hours later to get their colour applied, which is another
good
good
idea.
way to try and utilize your time, because we have been closed for so long, and you can look upon it as, okay, we've been closed for that long, we can wait another couple of days. But then everybody's situations are completely different.
Different.
And you do want to get back in there. Your clients are on the phone, you are under pressure. And maybe this is a time to go, I am going to set some boundaries. I will
Mm,
start then, I will finish then, and this is how it's going to work.
yeah,
But there is options out there. And I think the scare tactic of it is calming down slightly now,
yeah.
but we still need that togetherness protocol, as you were saying, for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there is ways round it. Is there any other ways you would add to that, Kate?
No, I think that's it. I think what people should do is first and foremost go to their insurance company
Yeah.
and speak to them. I think when they speak to them, they'll naturally say, go to your colour house and check what it says in the instructions. And then I would say, follow that to the letter. And if that says skin test 48 hours before and every time, for the time being, you'll have to follow that until you either decide if you're going with Colour Start and if you can find an insurance that'll cover you, or we get some more answers. I
Yeah.
think we've just got to. It's just like anything else. We'll move through it, we'll work through it, and we'll get through it, and the guests will get used to it. And if we have to skin test every time and the guests have to come, well, if that's carried out across the board, then they're going to have to do it everywhere, aren't they? But the problem is if it's not carried out across the board, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's somebody not carrying it out and they can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But what I think is key, our guests value their health and safety more than they've ever done it. And because we put so many protocols in place with the first lockdown and keeping them their health and safety paramount, that I think if we have this conversation, just like you and I are doing with our guests, and say, look, I have to do this. It's now, more than ever, it's become more apparent that these things, the insurance are tightening everything up. These are the protocols we're having to follow. And it's for your health and safety. And yes, I know it will be an inconvenience to come 48 hours every time before a colour, but the safety of yourself is far, far greater, and I want to keep you safe. And I think our guests will actually appreciate that.
I
I think, yes, there will be a little bit like, oh, no, really? But once they get used to it, and once we get used to it, if this stays in place like this, and we have to skin test it every time we colour and 48 hours before, this time next year, this will be the norm. It was like when we went back after the first lockdown, everything was abnormal to us. The fact that we were sanitising as much as we were, not that we weren't sanitised before, but as much as we were, and everything we had to put in place felt abnormal. And I always remember saying to my guests, by September, this will be norm. And it was by September, it was like, how did I used to do it before? How did I manage it before? And I think this time next year, these protocols will just feel the norm, but it won't when we first go back. I remember opening my doors, and honestly, Samantha, I cried for 5 weeks every day, every single day. At some point,
nice
I
say that.
cried. I cried. There was no reason for it. I just cried and cried. And it was 5 weeks before I stopped crying at some point in the day. It just, everything was so strange. Everything was so not how I'd used to it being. And it was just, and now I think I never want to go back to how I was. I love how my business is running. I love that I do 2 colours a day and a cut and blow away. I have that time for that guest, and we interact, and when the colour's on, they have a massage on the chair, and we chat, and we don't have magazines no more, but we're chatting, and our connection is even greater than it was. And I think now, if somebody said to me, I'll take you back 12 months, the virus has gone, it was never here, and you can go back to working 5 days a week, 50 guests a week, I'd be like, no way. No. Forget it. I love my new way. So,
it's more enjoyable. It is actually, once you get your head around it, having that quality time, that time to think about a colour, that time to be creative, rather than, oh my God, wait a minute, Mrs. Jones, she gets that, I'm just going to bang that back on again. It has been nicer. And I would say that because Gary will say to me, you were really busy today. And I was like, yeah, but it was great. Because you had big jobs, you just worked and you just got on with it. But it wasn't like this client's here and your head's spinning 360 degrees. It was a lot more relaxed once you go into the way of the PPE and changing the PPE all the time and remembering to change your penny and all that kind of a thing. Yeah, I'm on your camp there, Kay, for sure.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it was always my dream. I've always said I'd love to be a one-to-one predominant colour salon. And in fact, I journal a lot. I'm always writing things down. And in 2019, I wrote in my book that by September 2020, I was going to be a one-to-one bespoke colour salon. And I told my husband, Paul, this, and he said, oh, I'd love to see this. I cannot wait. He said, so you do 50 guests a week, but now you want to go one-to-one. So the chances are you're probably only going to do 10 people a week. How are you going to go from your 50? What 40 are you going to get rid of each week? How are you going to work this out, Kay? He said, I love how your brain comes up with these ideas. And he said, I don't know how you're going to do it. And I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I said, but I promise you, I bet by September 2020, I'm doing that. I said, because that is what I've always dreamed of, and I'm going to get myself there. And so we set about this eco-friendly refurb in the salon. So we hardly threw anything away. We actually upscaled everything. All the furniture went to be reupholstered, and we just tried to do it where we sent limit to landfill. That's what we did it on.
Yeah.
has been really wonderful. And then this virus came, and that changed everything. And that virus enabled me to go to a one-to-one colour bespoke salon. It was like that when that happened, and I don't underplay the virus, it's terrible. You know, we lost our aunt and uncle within 4 days of each other. So I don't underplay how
Yeah.
serious it's been and painful. You know, I know the pain that my family have been in with it and are still in with it, but for me, it totally changed my life and my career in a positive way, which is, I know that sounds so terrible, doesn't it? But it opened so many doors to change to what I wanted to be. So sometimes, change, the pivot of change can be very amazing and come from some of the darkest places, can't it?
And sometimes it's good to have your hand forced,
Yes.
and it's like, I am in this situation now. I either turn that corner and move forward, or I'm done. And you go with the flow, and it's difficult because change is difficult, but you do get to the other end of it. And that's the most amazing thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing with all this skin testing. Our hand is being forced, but we will make the changes and we will get to the other side of it. I just, for anybody listening out there that are really struggling and thinking, I can't do it, I'm gonna pack in. Don't pack in, because you can do it. You can do it. You've just hit your upper limit, and when we hit our upper limit, we either push through it or we walk away from it. And if you just give a little push, you just open that upper limit and you're out there, and it'll change. I definitely think so.
Okay, it's been amazing talking to you this morning.
Well, yes, we've rattled on about this skin testing, haven't we?
I know. But I hope
oh dear, it's been really it's been really great to talk to you. I've really, really enjoyed it, and I'm very grateful and very honoured that you've asked me to be on your podcast.
I'm honoured that you're here on my podcast.
Well, I want to wish you every success with it, because I think that's absolutely amazing, and I know the commitment time you must be taking to do this, and for people to be able to listen to it. And I am a podcast freak. I love podcasts. My life is podcasting. So I will be following your podcasts. I just love them. I just think podcasts are amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I wish you every success with your podcast, because that's a great thing to do, to offer and connect with people.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you again for being with us, and I hope you have a beautiful day the rest of the day, although it's raining there. We've got the same. We've had gale force winds and horrendous weather for a couple of days, but I can see the clouds in the background at your conservatory are very dull.
It is, but we'll keep the sun shining in our hearts, and we'll keep going wherever the day takes us.
Okay then, thank you so much. And I hope to catch up soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. See you later. Bye.
Bye.